All right, Rio here, and it is Friday of the end of week 7. And I'm still playing around with my new Chromebook to try to get all the functionality that I had on my Mac, and I'm getting really close. As a matter of fact, today I'm doing something even a little different, is because I'm recording my video, but I'm not recording it with my screen capture. Now, you might go, why is that a big deal? Because I don't want my video to be the whole time, because I want to be able to show you things. And one thing about the software that I'm using will not allow me to kind of cut out when I use the video. So I found a new way to do it, which is really part of the fun for me of actually being on a new operating system, is actually just figuring stuff out, because there's so much software out there right now. And because this system runs Linux programs natively, any Linux program I can use. Now, most of the stuff that I've needed has been web-based, so that's easy because Chromebooks are just meant for the web. But anyway, I bring this up too because I know, because we had the word lab test, there's a couple of you that ran into issues because you were using the online version of Word, or maybe some other versions. As a matter of fact, I found that you can install a scaled down version of Word on the Chromebooks to Android. But what happens is, and I want you to think about this, is Microsoft is not going to give you the whole version of Word that we've been learning on in the simulations in my IT lab, because that's how ultimately they make their money, part of their money, not all of it. They have very diverse revenue streams. And so they are going to give you enough that, and truly it's what most people need, but for the needs that we have in this class, which go a little deeper into the software, there's some more functionality that you needed. Now, I actually have been thinking about trying to, if I have time over the next couple of weeks, to challenge myself in the Excel lab test that comes up after our next series, is to figure out if I could actually achieve the lab test on Excel just on the online versions. But again, my point is that you need to do well on these lab tests. It really works best to have the full version because that's what you've learned on. Okay. All right, so now I'm actually going to turn to the course content. It's funny how the record button, the way I have it, I can actually, anyway, it's good to have fun. I'm actually going to turn to the course. Let me do this. Cool. All right, so in this case, as I said, we're leaving week 7, moving into week 8. And I'm still very much enjoying your comments on the CSS stuff, right? So that's awesome. And then we're moving into Excel. And so this prompts me to actually talk about a topic about scoring. And just to be clear, because if you have not checked out, which I'm going to recommend, the late work video, I know it's a little bit longer, but it does describe a really important concept in this class. And let me just, because I want to bring up Google Sheets, right? Because now we're going to be talking about spreadsheets, right? So Google Sheets, again, right? Not full Excel, but pretty darn close. So here's the example. Now, this is not your late work return sheet. This is just FYI. Last night we had classwork worth 100 points, right? Several of you missed the form link, right? So you got 90 points. So you got 10 points off. So if I took and said equal to whatever that is minus 10, that would give me what you got. And you might be tempted in this case to say, well, I'll just submit that. And what the issue was for many of you, you didn't give me a link to your results. And that's what I wanted to see, is your results. And so you might be tempted to just say, hey, I'll go and put those and then I'll get the 100 points. The problem with that is if you submit late work, right, then what happens is that base number actually gets discounted. Oh, now look what I did. Actually did an underscore instead of a minus. Let's do A1 minus 25. So your points possible moves to 75. Right? So what happens is, even by maybe getting that 10 points back because you've submitted it late, then becomes late work. This is the benefit of actually doing work ahead. And several of you are doing this, right? Because I grade every day if time allows. That you, if you miss something, can fix it. But if you're looking at it the day it was due, because I graded this morning, then you don't get that benefit. right? So again, it's just me trying to encourage you. Now, this is not, again, the late points returned. Check out that video for more details on how to do that. Okay? All right, so looking at the calendar, we are moving into week 8, and we're coming close to is the late points returned. And what we're coming close to is the mid part of the semester, which, by the way, there's no midterm here, which you can be grateful for that. I feel like I've worked you steady. I don't need to give you more work during a midterm because I feel like this course is steady work load, which I do purposely to help you get used to the process. But week 9 that comes upon us, right? So we're ending 7, coming into 8, but this is the last date you can drop this course. I'm not recommending it for anyone, partly because of the fact that if you are behind, you can catch up. And many of you are actually doing a great job here. So there's no worries about that. But I just want to let everyone know, right? So on the 15th, which is the end of week 9, this is the last date you can actually withdraw from the class. Here on out, you won't be able to do that, and you'll get a grade one way or the other. Okay? All right, so I just wanted to say that. And then for week 8 classwork, we're going to do something that I think should be pretty fun for you all because we've been doing some coding and actually going to take our coding to a whole new level. And so this is fun because you're going to end up using a website to do some coding. In this case, Visual Basic, because it's a requirement of this class to have some introduction to Visual Basic. And I'm not going to redo what's in here, but this video was done in a prior semester. And I did actually make I did make an error on the code, but I decided to leave it in and not re-record it because this is what happens with code. You write code and it's not 100%. This is why we test it, okay? All right, so just giving you a heads up there. This is going to be fun. What you're going to do here, and I've already changed it over to Visual Basic. What you can also do is auto run this, and you'll end up coding in here a simple payroll program. And what's fun about auto run, as soon as you change it, then it automatically and this is the output. So here's your code, here's your output. You'll take print screens along the way. So make sure when you take print screens, you're showing me your output. Okay. All right, leaving you with today something because I really enjoyed your comments on UBI, Universal Basic Income, because it was all over there was so many varying opinions, which I expected because in the world we are still trying to figure this out. But here's the reality. And if you haven't seen some of these videos, I can't show the whole thing because YouTube will give me a flag for copyright. But search for Boston Dynamics and look at if you haven't seen them, and just look at where robots are going, or I'm sorry, where they are, and think about where they could go, right? If we have robots that can do something like this, the end is, there's just no end, it seems, at this point to think about what they can't do. But there are things like more creative things, right, that they won't be able to do. So, we have to, as a society, try to figure out what we're going to do because we're going to automate. It's just going to happen. How do we handle that? And I really enjoyed your comments last on the UBI. So anyway, what are your comments this week? Well, any of this, like if you want to know more about late work, if you have a question about that, if you're interested in more coding, if this robot thing either excites you or scares you, could be either or both, right? Any of that. And then I did mention the event that's coming up, and actually it'll be a week from this Saturday. So by the time some of you hear this, it'll be March 9th. Is the International Women's Day. That is still available for students to come at a discounted price, but you need to reach out to me. Let's see, can I bring me back? Oh, I can. Okay, cool. So have a great weekend, starting to get some really nice weather in Fresno. Been grateful for the rain. We needed it, but it means the weeds in my area have got to be pulled. So I hope you enjoy wherever you're at and whatever life brings you this week. Have a good one.